Today we are here with the Air Pollution Control District's current chair, Noah Smukler. Noah has served on the Apcd board for the past 8 years and is a council member with the city of Morro Bay. Noah, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely.
So as a member of the Apcd board for the past 8 years, we truly feel that you are a seasoned board member and have seen the Apcd through many challenges and accomplishments. And for new and upcoming board members, what do you feel are some of the most important things that a board member should consider in their decision-making process?
Well, as a board member for Air Pollution Control District, our bottom line function is exactly what the name of the district says, to protect air quality and public health. And one of the important things to remember is we're doing that on behalf of the entire county, and it's required through a federal and state mandate of the Air Quality Act. So we as district members need to think about things beyond just what we do for our individual cities or as county supervisors, and think short and long-term effects of air quality and how we can implement good policy for either monitoring or compliance regulations.
Okay, great. So as a follow-up to that, what are some of the most important qualities that an Apcd board member should possess in your opinion?
Well, it is a fairly technical level of knowledge that a board member needs, not nearly as high as staff and so forth, but there's quite a few pieces of information and background details that are important for a board member to be aware of. So doing your homework just as you would as a representative in your city council or county board of supervisor positions, and reaching out to staff as much as possible if there are things that you're concerned about or want to know more about, because as we go into board meetings, there's 12 of us at those board meetings. Being the chair, it's challenging to make sure that you can work efficiently through the meeting and be timely. Everyone, appreciates being able to get through a functioning meeting in a way that respects everyone's time and the process. So I found Apcd staff to be very responsive and accessible if you do have questions beforehand. And there are times where it's important to be able to ask a question in public for general board awareness and public awareness. But for the most part, if you can do your outreach beforehand to staff, it helps keep the meeting moving and everyone feeling like their time's being well spent. The other thing that I think is really important is the commitment to civil discourse, because over the time we run into some fairly complicated and challenging issues like the dust rule, and all of us as board members know that we're representatives up there, we're role models, and the civil discourse measures that the League of Women Voters have helped us draft as the board itself have really helped us focus and maintain that composure and civility to staff, to our other board members, and particularly to the public.
Okay, great. So has there been anything in your experience that has surprised you, or something that you didn't anticipate and you had to do with?
Yeah, I think going in as a board member, knowing that we are a regulatory agency, and there are times where there will be permit requirements and challenges placed on some of the permittees, I was expecting a little more of contentious situations with the different permit holders, but was pleasantly surprised to find that most permit holders are very thankful for the work and outreach and genuine care that our staff puts into the efforts of helping them comply with the Clean Air Act and all the different policies and regulations there. That I think is exhibited by the relatively few times that our hearing board, which is where a permittee could file a complaint or request a hearing to actually appeal some form of regulation. Very few meetings for our hearing board, and as a board member, very few correspondence, for the most part, asking for us to look at something that I didn't think was right. So I think it's a statement for the quality of our staff, and the fact that having a local air pollution control district for our county really helps protect our local industries and gives them a local source to work with rather than at the state or federal level, which we all know becomes much more challenging and more layers of bureaucracy. So here at the Apcd, we're able to pick up the phone and call or have site visits very quickly and cleanly. So that was surprising. I was expecting a lot more outcry or concern coming from industry, but it seems like most people understand that air quality is really important to protect, and there's reasons for these regulations.
Yes, definitely. Are there any challenges that you see the APCD board experiencing within the next 5 years or so?
Well, the challenges related to climate change, climate adaptation, I think are just going to continue to grow. We are seeing more congestion in our streets and highways, and that's another component that I think is going to potentially increase air quality issues. And generally with climate change, we're seeing increased potential for wildfire and so forth. We know the serious impacts of that. With the ozone drift coming from other parts of the state into our county, there could be an increased potential there. And of course, the work with the dust rule and the Oceana dunes is going to be an ongoing challenge, something that we really hope we can get our hands around and have a positive effect on. So those are probably the big ones operationally, as well as a transitionary succession planning for APCD staff. We know there's quite a few retirements coming ahead, so having a good plan to be able to make sure that we have high quality, trained, skilled employees to carry out the district's operations is really important too.
Agree. And in contrast to that, what do you view are some of your significant accomplishments during your time?
Well, I think I've really tried to hold to the civic discourse idea and respect all the other board members, even when we've disagreed. That's important. One of the things too that I think may not be as obvious because it's fairly early, but our climate action planning, the air pollution control district's taking a leadership role in hosting things like the Civic Spark program that help place interns in cities and at the county level to implement the climate action plans and develop those. From the city of Morro Bay, we have a relatively small planning staff, and the climate action planning is very important for us, but on top of everything else, it is a challenge for an additional program and planning effort. So having the APCD there to help, particularly with the different skills and knowledge that they bring to the table. Often our staff doesn't have that sort of background and training. So I'm really hopeful that the climate action plans that we've now have in place, thanks in part to the APCD, is going to help us be resilient and be prepared for the future.
And is there anything about the APCD that you don't think the public knows and that they should know?
Well, I think from our perspective here in the county, we're really blessed with generally good quality air. I think sometimes that can be taken for granted, and people may assume that if you don't smell or see a problem in the air that there's not an issue, but some pollutants like ozone can be there and are fairly non-detectable by smell or sight. So that's one that it can be more subtle. Things like asthma are pretty obvious when levels of asthma are increased due to dust or particulates, and the serious impacts of that for people's health and quality of life. And that's something that is really obvious. But in other ways, cancer is more slow and hard to detect and be aware of. So there's air quality can be something that you don't really appreciate as much until it becomes a real problem in your life. And some pockets of the county actually do experience high and dangerous levels at times of the year. So I think all of us need to recognize that air quality should be cherished, and good policies and regulation are there to protect us and to keep that quality going, because it's always harder to work backwards once there is a problem, like we're seeing with the Oceana dunes. We've put a lot of effort in trying to get back to a point where the dust emissions are to a safe level, and good planning can hopefully avoid that situation.
Okay, great. And any final thoughts that you have as you depart from the board?
Well, I think again, just on the planning side, I personally believe in the idea of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I see that with planning, and all stakeholders win, even the regulated industries, that when you have good, fair rules that they can abide by that are designed to protect clean air, that gives them a level playing field, clear expectations, and limits the potential of them being caught off guard and then having to implement very much more expensive and costly measures to get back to the levels that we need for communities. And it's just overall very expensive on our society for the health impacts, what that means for our quality of life. And being a county that depends on tourism, I think clean air is a good business practice. Healthy ecosystems are good business practice, and if we stay committed to that and uphold our responsibility as board members and in our communities, we're doing everyone a service now and into future generations.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you so much for watching. For more information, you can go to slowcleanair.org or follow us on Twitter @slowcleanair. Thank you and have a great day.